and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another speed build. So this one I decided to kind of go classic and do just a plain old Family Blue Suburban. I say plain, but it's actually like got a pool in the back and all that kind of good stuff. So it's a very nice blue Suburban, I think. So it ends up being a 3-bedroom and 2-bathroom house, although only, well, technically I guess a 1.5 bedroom. But I just kind of wanted to do something classic and just something for a cute little family to live in. And so I ended up going with the blue siding here in a little bit, and also with a stone accents. You can see already coming up in the stairs and in the mailbox. And I end up having a child, so a room for a child, and I actually end up also putting in a nursery a little bit later, which is kind of funny since babies are basically objects in The Sims 4, meaning you really can't do anything with them other than keep them from crying until they age up. So anyways, we'll get to that in a little bit, but here I'm just kind of messing around with some different windows, and I like the idea of having like a window in the top corner. So I can't remember if I actually ended up with one or not, so we may actually end up leaving that one there. And because it's actually been a little while since I built this house, to be honest, so some of it will be a surprise for me too. And so I just put a ton of windows, so just lots of light in the house, and I think that came out really well in the end. And I did struggle with a little bit of floor plan, which you'll see, but not too badly. I've definitely had a harder time on builds before, and we do a lot of landscaping with a ton of vegetation out front, which I was actually really happy with. So again, we'll see that in a little bit. And I end up putting a nice area in the back where the kids could hang out, and so like room for entertaining as well as a pool. So it really ended up being a really awesome house. And I actually decided to build the pool like into the patio deck area. So I did change a little bit like where I wanted. I ended up pushing it back so it had room. I think I put some like lawn chairs out there, or I guess technically beach chairs, so your sim can go lounge by the pool. And then I ended up putting, I forgot if it was a swing set or monkey bars in the backyard, so your kids have something to do and can get their movement skill up as well. And I think I end up changing those flower boxes in the end to the ones that are like with the black ones with the white flowers, and I thought that looked a little bit better than this blue because I felt like the blue clashed a little bit. So I do change those around at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, but I do. Okay, already right now. I thought it took me longer to do that, but anyway, so I swapped all of those out, and then I thought those looked a lot better, and it just was more cohesive to me. And then I definitely wanted to make sure I have the tree in the backyard. And it's like, I like to think that maybe the kids will climb the tree. Obviously, that's not something they can do in The Sims, but they may too. So I end up putting like a little bit of dirt around the bottoms of both of the trees. And so I actually end up, what I was talking about earlier, putting like a ton of landscaping right here. So a lot of hydrangeas and bushes. So I keep in that blue theme. And I actually end up taking that into the backyard as well, and end up putting a lot of vegetation kind of by that back gate. So like if you were entering in through the side, put a lot of it in there. This took a little bit of time, clearly just kind of building that up, but I actually really enjoy doing that part of landscaping, just putting in a bunch of flowers and like just, adding some rocks too to kind of break up some of that. But I always enjoy doing that. And here I actually used the little like floor like puck light things, and I actually put them underneath all of the flowers so you can't see them, but it like gives it an illuminated look at night, which I really like doing. So I do that all of the time. And of course I made sure to put in a float in the pool so your sims can hang out on that. And yeah, so we've got a swing set going in there. Again, just putting some dirt underneath it as if like kids were actually playing on it. And then just again adding some of those flower beds in there. And these aren't necessarily like flower beds that your sim would take care of, but just would be nice to look at. And then there would be room for flower boxes, things like that, if you wanted to take some of this out and you wanted to build up some of your sim skills. So I just adding a little bit of a path, so if you came around the side you could still enter into the backyard, or vice versa. If you wanted to leave from the backyard, you could. And then I think there's also room here if you want to take some of that, if you wanted to add like a dog or a cat to your house. I didn't add any of that into the build, but you could obviously easily add that if that's something you wanted for your Sims family. And So I end up, yeah, putting just a ton of vegetation here, and I was very happy with the way it turned out. I kind of go back and forth on the backyards for my homes. Like either I really like them or I'm really not happy with them. So this one I think turned out really well. So adding a bike in there, I just like thinking, you know, their kids' stuff is like all around the place. And so of course adding a grill so your Sims can eat outside. I just went back and forth like seating area, table, like what I actually wanted out there, just to make sure like you actually had room for your Sims. And so I played around a lot with that, trying to decide what I wanted. And of course you can still like add stuff and change stuff around if you would like to add more seating and stuff like that, or a bigger table if you want to expand the family. But right now it's just a family of 4 in my mind, but there's plenty of room. I believe the child's room is big enough for you to actually add another bed, so if you wanted 2 kids in there, then you could definitely do so. And then it took me a long time to realize that those windows that I had at the bottom were way too low, so I had to bump those up. But I end up going through and then trying to just kind of figure out the floor plan, like where I want everything. So it ends up that I have like an entryway in front of the door with a couple of like different functioning rooms over there, and then that big space is where I end up putting the kitchen, dining, and living area. And then I went with this kind of more modern like gray wood in the house everywhere. And then I end up trying to figure out what I want to do with the second floor. Originally I thought I was only going to put maybe like 1 kid, but then I decided I wanted 2, but then I knew that if I had like a room for a baby or like a toddler, that you had to make sure that your bathroom was big enough that it could hold a bathtub so you can actually bathe your toddler. So you could still like bathe the dog if you decided you wanted to add one to the household. And of course you could always change one of the children's rooms into something else if you want. And so for the time being, I think I left it there, but I do think I make some more alterations later, and trying to decide I wanted at least a half bath downstairs as well. So trying to figure out where I wanted to put that. And like I said, over in that entryway area, it ends up being a half bath, and I actually included a laundry room with it and an office downstairs. So there's just lots of room for activities and for your Sims to do all kinds of stuff down there. So it's a very versatile house, lots of things. I do not think I actually included a chess table, which that would be a good add for this house if you wanted to build your logic skill, or your Sims rather. So yeah, I think this is actually taking shape of where it actually ended up. And I did end up having to, which was kind of annoying, so the stairs, you may notice, on the side for some reason, it was like, I tried to wall off the corner there, and I think it messed stuff up with the walls, and so I wanted to keep it nice and open, but I think I can't remember. I want to say I ended up putting a wall all the way across because of that weird wall thing that was happening. When we turn the camera around, I think you can see it more easily. And I did end up using the Parenthood counters for this, which I feel like makes sense since it's supposed to be like a family home. And I added like the half wall to help separate like what will be the living area with the kitchen. So, and I included actually some upper cabinets, and which I don't always do all the time because I feel like depending on the space, it just is really heavy and just kind of takes up so much room. But again, I just kind of went with like a clean white and blue aesthetic for the most part, except for the kids' rooms. Those actually do take on some brighter colors, which again, you'll see later. And that was me just trying to like, for whatever reason, delete walls. And oh yeah, so I ended up expanding that out just a little bit more. I think I just wanted some more island space. I'm trying to remember, I think I actually put the sink maybe in the island. I think that was what I was trying to do. So I wanted to make that a little bit larger. And then, yeah, that's me trying to figure out what to do with that wall. So I ended up having to extend it and then just putting a column there, which again, I wanted it to be open. I like the idea of that, but it just looked funny. And then I ended up making that like a small dining area. And again, just going in with the blue here. And then I just kind of took that blue paint with the white wainscoting like all over the house, at least in the bottom, and then just going with that classic white subway tile for the kitchen and bathroom areas. And I went back and forth, I think several times, about what I wanted the table and the chairs to look like in the dining room. And I think once I got the rug in there, I think that's what ended up helping me pull it together. And I did use these like mason jar lights. I feel like I want to use them a lot, but I don't think I use them that often. But I think those also came with a Parenthood pack, so it kind of made sense. And I didn't want to clutter up this space a lot, but I do end up using the Parenthood like board so you can like set curfews and things like that, because again, it just made sense for family play to have that on the wall. And then just putting like a little bit of art on that far wall, which I guess I couldn't have done if I hadn't have put the wall there, so that makes sense. I don't think I put a ton of clutter, but I did include like a microwave and a bread box. It just feels like that's definitely something you'd have in a family home. And I did try for a little while to actually, I really wanted the bread box to sit on top of the microwave, which in reality I don't think makes like a ton of sense, because it would get warm and that would like ruin your bread if you get like condensation and mold. And anyways, so we'll get off that topic, but just adding some extra things. Like I like the plate in the corner. I like to think that like kids maybe painted that and brought that home as like a project, and so they display it in their kitchen. So I'm just adding some stuff here. I mean, this family I think is pretty like tidy considering they have like small kids. And again, I'm like having the idea of just having like desserts in the corner, like the parents had baked goodies and just like waiting for the kids like maybe to come home from school and they can have a snack. I feel like I'm just putting like a ton of story into this house, but you don't have to use it this way, but that's just kind of the way I like to think about it sometimes, is like what kind of Sims I would have living here. But of course you can have whatever Sims you want to. And I did end up adding a play area over in the corner, which I've actually never done before, but I really liked it because I ended up having this like long space, and it was a really awkward space, and I wanted to have a nice living space and an area for the family, but at the same time, like with young kids, like they need activities and a room to like play, especially if you have like a baby and then turn a toddler, that a lot of skill building needs to happen. So, and I actually just found that pillow and like blanket basket, and I totally forgot that item existed, and I was so excited because I think it just makes a lot of sense. Like I actually have a basket of blankets in my living room that I have for when like people come over. If people get chilly, they can all have a blanket. And I did also kind of have a hard time deciding what lamp I wanted to put in the corner, but I really did like the way it's just kind of like these cool colors with the neutrals. It actually turned out really well, I think. It's just lots of places for your Sims to sit, or for your toddler to eat. And actually, coming to think of it, there was, a baby, but I didn't include a high chair at the table, which you can. I just typically don't use them because I find them to be a little glitchy and just like hard to use. Like either your Sims like leave their baby in the high chair for too long, or like they don't actually feed their kid when they're in the high chair. So I just typically don't use it, so I always forget they exist in the Sims. But you can easily swap one of those chairs at the dining room out for that. And so I'm just going through and adding just some different toys and things for the kids to use while they're over in that area. And I can't remember if I actually end up adding, I think I may end up adding the scouting board in the office because I feel like I used it, but maybe I didn't. So just like a nice play area carpet for them so they can hang out. Another little console table, and just I'm thinking like maybe your Sims come home, put like mail there or whatever. And then just finishing out these couple rooms downstairs. So we end up putting in a laundry room, and of course if you don't have laundry day or you don't want to use it, you can of course take it out. You can add like another bathroom, something like that if you'd like. There are lots of options for you. And so I just added a little bit of clutter. This one went by pretty fast. I just liked thinking there was like a counter maybe on top of the washer and dryer where you could put stuff and store things. And so I just put, I think, a rug in there, and I think I bring that rug over actually into the bathroom as well. And so I did end up making, originally I had that bathroom to be larger, but I ended up wanting to make the office a little bit bigger, and I ended up putting like a desk in that nook that I just created. So your Sims can go get on the computer or do whatever they need to do. I have no idea what the parents would do for jobs, or a single parent, or whatever they are doing for a job. But I think there's plenty of room in the house to adjust for whatever your Sims job is. And so again, I just kind of keep it a little bit simple, but I do end up cluttering up in the corner a little bit with, I think I put in the art table, the crafting table, I think that's what it's called, for kids, so they have room. There's also, I guess I added an easel. I believe it stays So your Sims can also do that as well and make some extra money. Or maybe they are an artist. And I thought it was cute putting that mat underneath them with all of the paint stains. Like it's catching all the mess from both your art and the kids' art. I say your like you are the Sim, but your Sims. And just adding some extra stuff. I think I tried to find some like of the children's art, and yeah, putting that up there. Like, I think the kids can actually create that at the crafting table, and you put that up on the wall. And so I just thought it'd be nice that like displaying that kind of stuff. And I did have that bucket of toys. I can't remember if I actually ended up using that in the kids' room. I want to say I kind of ran out of room up there. Like I had grand plans for the kids' room, but I think adding in like the baby room, or the nursery, that's the word I'm actually looking for. I had to take some room from the kids' room, so I probably didn't use it, but I wanted to put like a little seating area and all kinds of stuff in that space, but unfortunately I don't think I ended up doing that. So this is me just trying to rearrange the upstairs to fit in everything I wanted, and so we're gonna take a minute to do that. The nursery ends up being kind of small, but I think it still works because there's just so much space in the house that could be used for your Sims, like skill building and everything. Like they don't necessarily have to be in the room all the time, so I think it works out even if you end up having the baby age up and needing to put in a bed and everything. I think there's still room to do that. And if once that Sim ages up, you can rearrange stuff because you don't necessarily need like a full bathtub anymore, so you can change that out. But I think I ended up adding like a little bit of clutter to the bathroom because I think that's kind of realistic with having like 2 kids, like trying to bathe them and having their toys and all kinds of stuff, that it would just be kind of messy. And so again, just like still pulling in the really clean like white and blue colors from the rest of the house. But yeah, adding a basket of stuff, and I thought it was really cute to put a little rubber ducky up there because again, like you would probably have that for kids, some sort of toy. And then yeah, just trying to make everything make sense up here. I think this is the final floor plan I end up with up here. I did have trouble trying to decide on what kind of bed would be up in the owner's room. So I end up sticking with this one, like the 4-poster bed, and just again with like the clean colors, because I'm thinking the people that decorated the house would be the owners, would end up in this room, would probably have similar taste. And so I kind of kept it simple. I didn't put a ton in this room. Again, these rooms aren't like huge, but I just again kind of kept it simple. I think I did go back and forth a little bit on some of the furniture that was in here. Like the bed I settled on early, but the dresser and the nightstands, it took me a minute to do. And I think the extra angle, like I would have loved to put like maybe a chair in there or something, but I don't think I ended up having room for that. So yeah, I added just like maybe some tissues. I think maybe I might add like a journal or something like that, and just putting some shoes underneath the table. Thinking maybe that's where they kept them, or maybe those are like their house slippers or something. And then I randomly came across those postcards, so I went back downstairs and threw those on the corkboard while I had a chance, because I swear sometimes I can't find them when I want to, so since I had them I needed to go put them on the corkboard. So then yeah, just kind of adding a book on the end table, thinking yeah, your Sim may read in bed, which I think they can actually do now. They didn't used to be able to, but I think now they can like relax and just like hang out on the bed. Which is definitely nice, and I do love that piece of art. I have used it in several builds, the different variations, and for the nursery here I end up going all in with pink. I don't know why, the pink and purple, I just decided that was going to be the color. Of course you can change it if you want to change the color of it. And so I'm actually creating kind of a makeshift changing table here. So I've done this before where you basically just take a dresser and then you take one of the like ottomans and just kind of raise it up just to where you can see the top cushion part, and to me it kind of looks like a changing table. And so I just throw the crib over in the corner, along with, I figured you'd have a chair there, probably like a rocking chair or something, but I just went with this pink one. I believe I like add like a small stool or something next to it, thinking like, you know, the parent could put their feet up or just have stuff with them. So I just kind of add a lot of cute pink accents in here, and that's kind of about it. So just like the crib and the changing table. Again, you can't actually use a changing table or anything like that. You can't do much with the babies in The Sims, but you know, I like the idea of just having a classic nursery. And then I end up just kind of this landing of the stairs. I don't put much there, just kind of left it an open space. So I think we add a rug, I think maybe a bookcase might end up there. And you can kind of see down in the corner that I'd had a couch in the kids' room because, again, I really wanted one to be in there, but I don't think it ended up sticking around because I just couldn't get it to work right. So yeah, just adding a bookcase. So again, your Sims have more things to do. And then I ended up wanting to use like this yellow and blue, which I thought was going to work out really well. But again, I think I had just some space issues because I wanted to make sure there was room for just like typical kids stuff, as well as just some skill building things. So again, me trying to make everything fit. I think I already deleted out and gave up on that bucket of toys. And then I think we end up actually going and using the solar system. I think, yeah, I did the solar system lamp on the ceiling and everything, and just went that way with everything in this room. So thinking maybe the kid was into science and everything, so you could add like that like chemistry table thing somewhere if that's what you'd want the kid to get into. And then just, yeah, adding, I think, the end table. And I think the hardest part of this build was actually this kid's room because I just kind of went back and forth on stuff. I was about to say, did I actually add that in there? Because then, you know, go me, but I don't feel like I ended up making that work. But again, I actually used that rug downstairs too, but oh well, that's fine. And I ended up, I think I ended up with that like smaller dresser from Tiny Living to just make room for stuff, because I want to make sure, yeah, there was a toy box upstairs and there's a place for them to hang out, and then just adding some clutter that you would probably just see in a kid's room, and then just like a little robotic lamp, because again, I'm thinking they're into science and things like that, but you know, of course you can alter it, and that looks like a periodic table kind of like element poster to me, but you know, who knows what that actually is. But we're actually reaching the end of the build now, so I've got some screenshots for you. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and you can find this on the Sims 4 gallery under my ID, which is down below. I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye.